Hey Kate, this video is going to have a slightly different format. For the most part, what I would do in my video responses to you I would take your video, break it apart, and then counter your arguments, and insert snarky remarks in the middle from time to time. Even though I usually don't do it I'm usually not that harsh when I criticize people. Anyway. In this video, I'm also going to be addressing you directly. I'm making this video to you, not to my viewers. Basically, the reason why I want this to be a friendly video, at least as far as friendly can go, is because you actually bring up a proposal at the beginning of your video that I want to take you up on. You say that you want somebody to explain to you the rationale behind this argument. You say that you honestly want somebody to explain this to you because, as far as you're concerned, this argument holds no logical basis whatsoever. So it just escapes you how some people can actually hold this position. And since I do hold this position, and I consider myself to be a fairly rational person, to say the least, most of my decisions and the way I run my life are based on pure logic. And I still hold this position. This escapes you. You don't know how a rational person can hold this position. Now I'm gonna this is gonna be pretty much the only bit that I'm gonna do to the viewers, and just so they know what the argument I'm talking about is. I would recommend you watch her video first before, so you actually know what the topic being discussed is exactly. But to sum it up, she doesn't understand how people can say that a person who has never heard of God before is not an atheist. And I hold this position. I think that if somebody has never heard of the proposition that a God exists, it doesn't necessarily make him an atheist. And it totally escapes her how anybody can hold this position. So I want to take you up on that. You said you want somebody to explain it to you. I'm willing to explain this to you in the most comfortable format possible. A one-on-one Skype conversation. It's not going to be a debate. It's going to be a conversation. I honestly want to explain to you this position so that you do get where we're coming from, which is what you stated yourself is what you want. And people who have had discussions to me in the past, whether it was one-on-one discussions on Skype, and not to mention discussions in which we disagree, people will tell you that I am a very pleasant person to have a discussion with. I don't get aggravated. I don't troll. I keep my snarky remarks to the minimum when it comes to having a live conversation. And I think that obviously the only way to explain this to you is through a live conversation. It could be a group Skype conversation, a one-on-one Skype conversation, a blog TV in which one of us is co-hosting the other. I don't care. I honestly don't care. Google Meetup, whatever you want. Any way is fine by me. Now, that's as far as the proposal and my offer go. And trust me, I think that you'll find that I'm a pretty pleasant person to talk to. I mean, I mean, having a conversation with, even if you disagree with me, you're still gonna find that it wasn't unpleasant having that conversation. So I don't think that you could really say that you don't want to talk to me because you think that I'm gonna probably troll you or something like that. I can guarantee you that that's not the case. And I'm even capable of leaving keeping my disagreements with people on a non-personal level. So just so you know that about me. Now back to the point. I am now going to try to use your own analogy to show you how these things fail, how you fail to, why you fail to see our perspective. So you use an analogy of, you show a certain product which your friend is marketing, or even manufacturing. I'm not even sure. Anyway, you are fairly certain that none of us have this, and none of us have heard of it, obviously. First of all, I want to say that you say in your video, I can pretty much guarantee that none of you have this. How can you guarantee that none of us have this? I mean, a lot of people live in Seattle, and a lot of people shop from small businesses, and you are probably not the only one who has your friend's product. So how can you guarantee that I don't have one? You can't. You bloody well can't. I'm sorry. Now, back to your actual analogy and what it means. You said that there are only two states. You either own one or you don't own one. I said in a previous video response of mine to you that I explained something about binary systems, and that is that any binary system to which there is even a single exception, it's no longer a binary system, but it was a false dichotomy all along. And you tend to make things into binary systems that are not binary, and therefore you are guilty of making many false dichotomies. Many false dichotomies, even with your own example. Basically, your analogy was, since nobody has heard of this before, that means that they don't own one. But that doesn't have to be true. I mean, if my girlfriend happened to buy one, and she keeps it at my place, right? That means that I own one, even though I've never heard of it before. So I could still own this product that your friend markets without ever hearing about it. It is possible, and therefore, even your analogy is a false dichotomy. And in the same exact way, I can defeat your argument and at the same time show you how my argument is rational. And since this is a video format and not the live format that I'm talking about, having a discussion with you, then I'm responding to your video still, so don't expect me to go easy on you on this one. I'm sorry. Okay. You're arguing that a person who has never heard of the proposition that a God exists is an atheist, and that you think that it is completely irrational to think otherwise. Why do you think that somebody who has never heard of the proposition that a God exists cannot be a theist? Now, I think there's also a severe flaw in your logic. And you'll find that even you can understand how there's a problem with this binary system of yours. A binary system doesn't need both sides to be equal. But in this case, think about it this way. You say, by your own definition, that in order to be a theist, you need to have heard the proposition that a God exists, and then accept that proposition and believe in God. That's what makes you a theist. Anything that doesn't conform to this definition of theism is therefore an atheist. This is your binary system that you set up, and let's put aside dictionary definitions, because people have proven you wrong on that and you don't seem to recognize it. So let's put definitional stuff aside and use your own definitions. According to your definition, in order to be a theist, you must have heard the proposition that a God exists. You must have come across a either literature or somebody literally telling you that God exists, and then you need to accept that claim in order to be a theist. You need to have come across this proposition that a God exists. But to be an atheist, it's enough for you to not even if you didn't hear of the proposition that a God exists, you're an atheist because you don't conform to that slight definition to that precise definition of theism. So let's now remember how I refuted your analogy. I'm going to do the same thing with this. How do you know that somebody who has never heard of God before isn't a theist? He could very well be a theist. In fact, I bet my money on the fact that most people who have not been told that a God exists, if you leave them alone, or even if you don't leave them alone, they are more likely to come to the conclusion that there's a God that created the universe than that there are no gods, that the universe has come to be by natural processes. Think about that for a moment. What do you think is more likely? A person who has never heard about neither physics nor about the proposition that a God exists. They are completely neutral. They were probably born on some kind of I don't know, secluded island somewhere. Somehow they have managed to never hear the proposition that a God exists. Okay, so according to you, they're atheists. But I would argue that this person is more likely to be a theist and believe that there's a creator to the universe who is a mighty being than he is to think that everything came to be by natural processes. And I think that even you would agree with this. So, is a person who believes in God by his own not a theist? Are you really willing to say that a person who has looked at the universe, let's say that nobody else exists in the entire universe, he looks at the universe, okay, he never heard of the proposition that a God exists, obviously because nobody else exists to tell him that. He looks at all of creation and he decides that there is a God. According to your definition, he's an atheist. Does this make any sense to you? To me, it doesn't make any sense. This is why I think that the position that somebody who has never heard of the proposition that a God exists must be neutral. Because if you would argue that he is something, then I think that he is more likely to be a theist than he is to be an atheist. Now, even though I think that my argument just now was rock solid, I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg to what I can actually explain when I'm having a discussion with somebody live, rather than just having video back and forths. I really think that there's a potential for you to get our position, and perhaps maybe I would even be able to understand your position and why you insist on putting everything in binary systems. I think it could be nothing but productive. Like I said, I'm offering to explain this to you, and I want to take you up on what you said at the beginning of your video.